2, 1. That was so bad. Hello and welcome to the Dweebz in Japanese podcast. I am one of your hosts, Patrick.
And I am also one of your hosts, Khalil.
Yay! So much enthusiasm.
I know.
Khalil, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty all right. I shaved my head, I have
good.
no
You shaved your face and your head.
Yeah, I'm smooth.
You're all smooth.
I aged backwards a few years and feeling all right,
Let's get started with the Japanese news. So first segment, it looks like I don't want to do this every single time, but honestly, there wasn't really much interesting news that happened in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really control that.
This past week, yeah. So like one of the top headlines, obviously, is the coronavirus numbers. So it looks like there's 2,673 cases, and these look like to be the total positive. These are new cases. Yeah. These are new cases. I don't know. It looks like on the 31st. That's the number, which is today. And 65 people have passed, and there's the numbers in the headline. There's some like numbers that break it down by prefecture, but so it's growing in Japan. Obviously, it's not as bad as here. Yeah, another article that I was reading is just like it's snowing in northern and eastern Japan. So I think like Chiba. Let me read some of the places here. It doesn't actually say a whole lot of places. It just says north and east. So like Hokkaido, actually it does. It says there. Yeah, northeast. Yeah, like Hokkaido and then northern Tokyo and Aomori and places like that. So that's kind of cool. I personally like the snow, especially if it's occasional. If it's not like that one time in Seattle when it was 2 or 3 weeks, that was a little crazy.
Oh God, yeah, that was too much right there.
And Seattle didn't. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Seattle doesn't know what to do when it snows. Like it just shuts down.
Yeah, all those hills don't make it any better.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awful. So so if it's that long, then I'm not really down for that. But in school, that was like the most exciting time ever because school closed down.
Right.
And they never had like makeup work or anything like that. It's just a day off, basically. I think they made them up at the end of the year, though, which as a kid I never really considered.
Yeah,
but,
and it seems different because it's like so far away, it doesn't really matter anymore when you're a kid.
Yeah, that delayed gratification thing is like not a concept in your head.
It really isn't, man.
Well, it's actually interesting because like the same philosophy can be said about language learning or like something that's lifelong. Because it's lifelong and it's a marathon, you actually do need to give yourself rewards along the way. And almost like you need to give your reward to yourself right after you do it. Like you accomplish something, even if it's small, right? So like, for example, like it can be something as stupid as like you have chocolate in your house or whatever, and then you complete your reviews for the day, and that's when you get to eat chocolate. But you can't eat chocolate before you do your review, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like so that way you're like, yeah. So like one thing I'm doing right now is like intermittent fasting, but not really like the fasting thing necessarily. It's just like basically making the window that I eat smaller.
Gotcha.
And then like having more time to have my body go into ketosis and like not be a glutton. Like as soon as I wake up, I just eat because it's a habit. I eat when I'm actually hungry. When my body's telling me I'm actually hungry. Because I'm in the habit of just like eating all the time because I'm bored.
Oh yeah.
So except for when I'm like in deep focus. I don't know if you're the same way. Like if I'm in deep focus, I kind of forget about it.
Yeah, same. Sometimes I can go a very long time without realizing that like, oh, I need to eat something. It's been like 6 hours.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. And then you like get out of that mode and you're like, I'm so hungry.
Right? Yeah.
And I feel like I've done that skateboarding too. I'll just be like skating and then I feel dizzy. I'm like, why I feel dizzy? And then I'll sit down for a second and I'll be like, oh, there's the hunger.
Oh.
I don't have to go get something before I can do anything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty weird. It's pretty weird to think too. This is a different topic that like the organisms that are living in your stomach are not part of you. They're like they came in probably because of the food and the air and whatever, but
Yeah, they do.
they
They
work
do
with you
change.
in like symbiosis. You know,
Hmm.
kind of odd.
It's crazy. That is a whole deep subject on its own.
That's a different podcast. Um,
It sure is.
so yeah, but snow in Japan, the new numbers, it seems to be steadily inclining, which is not good. Um,
Hmm.
moving on, do you have anything to update uh, us about the your Japanese study habits? I don't see anything in the notes, so you don't have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So slowed down a bit. This week has been um, very interesting in the stock world. So I've been very closely following that. So it's been
Did you buy any
occupying a lot of
GameStop
my time.
stock?
Not GameStop, no,
Oh.
but I did buy AMC. So I've been keeping an eye on
Mm.
that.
Mm. I thought about buying AMC too
Mm.
because
Really?
Fidelity. I'm not using Robinhood. I'm using Fidelity.
I'm not using
And
Robinhood either.
okay, and so I thought about buying AMC as well, just because Fidelity doesn't allow you to buy fractional stock, like fractional shares of
Yeah,
GameStop.
my
Because right now
brokerage is
it's
like
like
that too.
okay, it's like 300 right now. It's like 300 and something dollars per share.
Oh, that's insane.
So I'm not going to spend
For
$300
anyone who
just for one
doesn't know, it
share.
started at 17, I think at the beginning of the month. It was like $17.
Isn't that crazy? But it's going to go
Dang.
down for sure. Like it's honestly a waste of
Yeah,
money. The only reason I wanted to do it is because like the whole uh,
the
screwing over the
message.
hedge fund
Yeah,
managers.
yeah.
Because it's like a billionaires club to make them. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's all crazy. So I think it's pretty funny actually. I've been
It
following it
is.
too, but
Somebody has somebody made a comment and they were like, the world hasn't been this unified since Pokemon Go, and I was like, dang, you're right. It hasn't.
they need to add something to Pokemon Go just to like solidify that statement.
Right.
That'd be pretty cool. Like you can
But
like
yeah.
buy GameStop stock in the app or something.
Oh my God.
You can see GameStop shareholders like near you. Rare Pokemon. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Cool.
That
So
is a strange crossover.
very strange crossover. So not
But
much.
yeah, other than
Yeah.
Mhm.
So go
Yeah,
ahead.
not much. So like just before all that started happening, I was trying to write my story, which I don't have finished for this episode, but it just takes so much time and like focus for me to get it. Because basically, I try to use words that I know, but I don't really know much grammar, so I have to look up a lot of that stuff. And then I
Yeah.
try to use some new words in there too, which I need to kind of learn the. Since I don't know the grammar, it's not as easy for me to kind of use the word. If that makes sense. And then the writing tense is kind of weird too because it's not like speaking; it's like a little more descriptive.
Yeah,
And
for
then
sure.
there's like dialogue stuff too. So it's been interesting, but I need more time on that. It's just um, it's one of those things you kind of have to be in a mindset for it. Unlike my Wanikani, which I can just kind of go in and out as I have time.
Yeah. Yeah.
This takes a little more brain juice going.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Wanikani is definitely something that's a lot easier to continue, and it does a lot of work for you.
Yeah.
It's probably why it's so easy to continue for so
Oh,
long.
one thing I want to mention about that, I kind of just saw it when we were updating our little episode outline. The font of some of these kanji looks so different, like
Mm.
in the real world, as opposed to the Wanikani app.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It's
for
kind of
sure.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the font is different too. I use oh geez, what is it called? Tsudukame, I think. Yeah, Tsudukame is the app on iOS that I use. That's
Hmm.
just a Wanikani third-party client,
Yeah.
and it allows you to use like a handwriting font. So my weakness with reading kanji was not being able to read like handwritten kanji because it was just different looking because it's
Yeah.
stroke for stroke. Obviously, like anybody's handwriting is going to look different than a font on a computer, you know.
Of course. Yeah.
So I changed it to that so that if there is if that word or if that kanji is supported in the font, it shows it handwritten. What's cool is that on the app too, you can like toggle between the two. So if it's really weird
Nice.
looking, or if it like looks way too much like another kanji, I can toggle it to go back to the computer font, which is
Hmm.
easier for me to remember, like understand. But it's been really helpful actually, for sure. Because like I totally, it's way easier to read computer kanji for me than it is to read
Yeah.
handwritten kanji. And so like I would look at a letter from Judy's friend or Judy's letter to somebody, and I would read it and be like, what the heck is
Hmm.
that? It's like, tomodachi, oh, or like, oh, toshi. These are like simple kanji, but the way that people write them is kind of cursive-y and
Oh
quick,
no,
and they'll
yeah.
make certain parts bigger, and everybody writes differently. So
Makes it a lot harder because
yeah,
computer font is standardized. Uh, there's no like variance in it. It's all the
it never
same.
changes. You
Yeah.
type it the same way every single time. Yeah,
Hmm.
but you don't write the letter the same way all the time. People write in
Yeah.
cursive too, and like old people write cursive and small cursive,
Uh,
And Judy will be reading that like, what the heck does this say? And I'll be like, oh, it's just like June. She's like, that's a J? Like it's the weird
yeah.
cursive. So it's similar. It's the same thing. So I would if anybody has an iPhone, I definitely use Sudokame, which is I think the most popular one. And then there's Flaming Dirtles on Android. I don't know if they have the font thing, but I would definitely recommend that.
They so because that was bothering me a bit ago, so I looked into that. They do have
Mm.
something. Um, I think right now I have it set so it toggles through a set of fonts. Um,
Oh, weird. So it's gonna be different every time.
yeah, which
Huh.
sometimes is good, but other times I'll get like a kanji I really know well, and then in the different font, and it's like it doesn't really help me learn it anymore. I already got it, and then it'll give me the ones that I'm struggling with just in the normal font. So it's like, okay, this is like the best case scenario for this. So I'm still kind of figuring that out. If I could import some fonts, that'd be really cool. I don't
Your
know if I
on
can.
fonts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I could just choose like the most out there one in terms of yeah, the most opposite of the very rigid font that they have, just to kind of make it more. If I
Kanji
could rec.
bubble font.
Oh god, yeah, exactly. Something like that, where it becomes almost as unrecognizable as I would probably see it in the real world. That would be very nice if I could find something like that.
Yeah, like the one that is that you can turn on in Sudokame is the one that looks like almost calligraphy,
Oh,
which is cool. So
oh,
very
calligraphy.
helpful. Yeah. So next segment, favorite Japanese word. I probably don't have to say next segment every time. I
Yeah,
should
you
probably
just kind
say,
of go into it.
Khalil, what is your
Hey,
favorite? On
yo,
that note, what is your favorite kanji or your favorite word recently?
I like mushi because it means bug or insect, and those things are cool. I don't know.
Like bugs.
I'm
So does
bug.
Mushi in the font, the different fonts that you're using, does it look like really different? Is that one of the confusing things for you?
I have to kind of get in close on this one. I don't think so.
It's pretty simple. It's a pretty
It
simple
is.
kanji. Yeah, so it doesn't probably wouldn't have so much variation.
Yeah. The ones on my wall of shame do look different, and that's why I brought it up because I was like, wait, that looks a lot different than it does in Onikani when I typed it on the document. But yeah, I don't know what else. I wonder, could you give me an example of like another word that has the mushi kanji in it? Like, what or
Um,
kind of variations do we got with that kind of base
there's
kanji?
one in my head. One second. Okay, doku. That the reading
Oh,
changes to doku, and it's like it means isolation.
whoa.
Is it kakudoku or dokukaku? I actually have to look this up because I haven't really used this. I just learned it on Wanikani.
Hmm.
Never used this conversation though. But it's weird. Kakudoku. Oh, so okay. I was sort of right. So we're not. One second. Doku kaku. No. Doku. And oh, by the way, doku is like isolate. So, oh yeah, like dokuritsu or dokutoku, of course. So dokutoku is like unique. I don't know if you. It's a pretty common word, like unique.
Hmm.
Um, so then Dokuritsu Kinenbi is like Independence Day. I knew that,
Oh,
but
interesting.
Dokutoku it means unique. But Doku has the mushi, the bug kanji inside of it with like the little animal thing, like the little nail bat. I think that's what the radical name is in Wanikani. Um,
Interesting.
I'm trying to think of like just mushi.
Oh, I
Oh, mushiba maybe. But no. But that is that the same mushi? I think so. Yeah. I think it's the same. Mushiba is a cavity, like a tooth cavity.
oh
Let me go
oh, that's
look
kind of
up.
funny.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a bug. It's
Well, it's
mushy.
because it's similar to, when people say sugar bugs.
I've never heard that before. Sugar bug.
Oh, you haven't? Yeah,
That's
it's
disgusting.
no, yeah. It's more of a thing for like you tell little kids like, oh, you gotta brush your teeth to get rid of the sugar bugs.
Oh, that's funny. I've never heard that before. I like that. I'll probably
Yeah.
use that next time with a kid. That's funny. No,
Yeah,
but seriously though, you're like it's yeah, it's gross. And I
it's very gross.
imagine I've had friends, a lot of skaters that don't brush their teeth, and oh my gosh, it's so disgusting.
Mm, mm, mm,
I wouldn't be surprised at all if I saw bugs in their mouth.
mm. Dang.
Um, cool.
Well,
Mushi.
what about your favorite word?
So I had two, and they're not like necessarily new words, right? For me.
Hmm.
Okay, this one is though. Satoru means to comprehend or to sense, or
Oh.
and not sorry, not comprehend. It means to like to realize or to sense. And so when I was reading my book, I saw
Mm.
this word, and it was satota, and I didn't recognize it because I always see it in Wanikani as satoru. And so when it was like the
Mhm.
conjugated word,
Yeah.
they were saying something like sensing like the car approaching,
Mm.
and it said like black SUV, something, and it said um, like Lucy Satotta, like she sensed there was this thing over there, but I thought it made to comprehend, or I didn't really know what it meant, and there was a weird conjugation, so I looked it up. I was like, oh, I know that Satoru, but I didn't realize
Oh.
that there's a bunch of different meanings for it, and
Hmm.
one of them is like the number one that I remember is realize, but
Gotcha.
another nuance to that is like sense,
Ah,
and that's a kind of common book word, right? Is like I sensed the presence of somebody nearby, or I sensed that there was something amiss in the situation, stuff like that. So that's another cool descriptive word that I want to use more, especially in
yeah, that
stories.
is
It
a
sounds
cool one.
cool.
Yeah.
The other one is shumai. So shumai is a lot of people who don't even speak Japanese know what this is, especially here in Hawaii. They think it means, or they know it means Chinese dumpling. It's like the steamed dumpling,
Oh.
the little tiny steamed
Ooh.
dumplings, shumai. And the reason I like this word is because we always say that um, Bella, our dog, who's a golden Great Pyrenees boxer, Boston Terrier, like a bunch of different dogs mix.
Yeah.
Because of the boxer and Boston Terrier, she has like these kind of droopy. She looks like a lab mix because she kind of is with the golden retriever and the Great Pyrenees. But
Mm.
her face, she's got an underbite, and then she's got a little bit of droopy cheeks, and so it kind of their droopy cheeks are like golden and blonde, so they kind of look like a steamed dumpling. And then when you hold them,
Oh.
you like put your hand under her cheeks, they kind of go up a little bit because they're like always
Hmm.
drooping, so they go up a little bit like a steamed dumpling. So we say "Shu mai chan" all the time to
Oh,
Bella.
that's great.
It's really funny. That's something that Judy obviously coined. I wouldn't think that, oh, Bella, your cheeks look like a steamed dumpling, but Judy said that before, so I think it was funny. Um, yeah. So those are our favorite words. What are your shameful words? Cool. You got two
Oh
new
man,
ones.
I do got two new ones. It's crazy. Failing at different things now. That's progress.
You gotta feel good before you feel bad.
Yeah. Wait, did you mean that gotta feel bad before you feel good?
No, because I think that if you feel good about yourself, that's a good thing, right? But then you're gonna like now you have to work on something. Like you have to work on yourself a little bit more. You have to work on
Hmm.
your Japanese practice. So there's like you can't feel too confident. You got to be like, oh, but there's still more to learn.
Oh yeah,
But
there
the
always
confidence
will be.
part, yeah, the confidence part, and then also being confident in like being okay not knowing everything is important
Hmm.
too, right? Like you don't want to feel overwhelmed, like, oh, I don't know anything. You want to be like, oh, I can kind of understand the conversation. Like I can kind of get through this. I can kind of understand what this thing
Yeah.
is saying. That like that's important to be able to feel that way. But also realizing that okay, this is like a lifelong thing. What are
Hmm.
my next steps that I can be proud of, and like celebrating that too, you know? So, but that was a
Yeah.
deep conversation about maybe just a joke you were saying.
Yeah, but it's okay. We got to get that out there.
I think celebrating though, like actually maybe that's a new segment that we could do too. Like, what are you proud of, or like, what did you do this week that you're really proud of, or maybe struggled with.
Yeah. Okay.
But
All right.
anyways,
Cool. The first word, I think is sha. It is uh, copy,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I don't know what I think I get it mixed up with I don't even know. I don't even know. All I know is it looks very different on here on Wanikani. The so it is it's a kanji made up of three, I think, three radicals. Is that three?
Yeah,
I can't even
yeah,
tell.
yeah, yeah.
What is
Legs,
the middle one? The top
lid,
oh leg.
legs, lid,
Legs
in
lit in
slide,
one. Or
slide
yeah.
or drop, or I think it's slide. But senjutsu, so the previous day.
Oh, Senjutsu. I was on Sha still.
Oh,
But
I'm
yeah,
sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. Sha is the beggar, right? They may have changed the name of these
yeah,
two.
yeah,
Beggar,
beggar.
ground, and helmet.
Yeah,
Yeah, or
yeah.
forehead or something.
And
Not
it
helmet, forehead.
means to copy. Yeah, forehead. Forehead's what it
Yeah,
is. It's to copy. And it just, I guess I just don't have it down yet.
I
But
like
that's
that kanji.
okay.
It's a cool looking kanji. Well, if you change your phone to Japanese, by the way, so shashin, like or you see that all like if you're looking at your photos app, you'll see shashin, like maybe a folder.
Oh, and it uses that kanji.
Yeah, so shashin is picture and typically like a photo, and so
Yeah.
copy new. I think that Sheen is. I need to actually look that up. Um,
Oh,
but I think that it's a like a copy, like a new copy. Shashin. Let me type that up. No, sorry, reality. It's a copy of reality.
whoa.
Yeah, Sheen
Okay,
is like reality. Yeah, right.
cool. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, in the aerial font or whatever, the ground doesn't go through the beggar.
Oh, interesting.
So
So like
that's kind of a
cuts
big difference. Yeah.
before. Yeah, I've always seen it the way that it's in our doc in that font. So I've always seen it go
Oh,
past
okay.
the ground. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
probably an anomaly with the font that you're seeing in the app.
Interesting. That's just their default one, I believe. Yeah.
On the website, like are you using the computer? Because
Yeah.
the font will be different depending on your machine, um, typically. So unless they're setting like a custom font.
That's true. Because I think I just copied it from Monikani,
Oh, okay,
the desktop website.
interesting. Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, and then the next one was Senjitsu, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it goes through on the website. Weird. But yeah, anyway, the next one, Senjitsu, is it the other day or previous day?
I mean, so sen or saki it means like previous, and then hi or jitsu is the onyomi that means day.
Hmm.
I remember this one having like a sort of an exception, like not the previous day. I think it does mean the other day, senjutsu,
Hmm.
like the other day. But when I say the other day, I almost always say kono aida. So I
Oh,
kind of need to look up the nuance to
whoops.
this. But I think it's just like the previous day or like the other day.
Okay.
But
And yeah,
sake means like usually before. Oh, it's just the other day, a few days ago. Okay, so I didn't know that. I
oh,
didn't
a
really
few days ago.
because I almost never use that. I read it all the time though.
Oh,
Um, but senjutsu, yeah. So it means the other day or like a few days ago, not necessarily yesterday. Because you say if you mean yesterday, it's like kino, right?
yeah.
So that makes sense.
Huh.
Well, because like previous day, which is
Yeah.
like the literal translation, but it doesn't necessarily mean sake doesn't necessarily mean previous like that one day before. It means
It
like
just means like
before, like
before.
previous. Yeah, previously, I
Bef-
guess.
okay. Yeah, I'll have to work on that. But I
That is
think
one that I forgot. That little exception. I kind of remember in my head that there was like something different about that one, but yeah.
hmm the
But
Jitsu part also gets me too because I don't know any other words that that have that reading for the day kanji.
also that's your first one. Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
for onyomi for the day. There's there is nichi. There's jitsu. There's hi, which is also the kunyomi hi. And so
And
you'll
then
see
isn't
like a
there
bunch of
B
different.
too?
B is like the rendaku version of hi. So
Oh.
often like when there's the jukugo, it'll change to B or something. Like
hmm
kinen B. So kinen B is holiday or like vacation, but usually holiday or
Gotcha.
anniversary, like somebody's relationship anniversary.
hmm
So um, yeah, senjutsu is a weird one. I can see why you have 33 on the meaning.
hmm
Because there is a little bit of a nuance there.
Yeah, and that was also introduced with the set of yesterday too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I get those
I think
mixed
I've
up.
burned that already, and that's maybe why I'm like forgetting. Because I definitely, if I received that in my review queue, I'd have probably the same 33%. Honestly, because it's weird. I don't really hear it, but I do read it. Interesting.
So
So
what about you? What do you got?
mine, yeah. The first one's leisure, which is I always
Leisure.
get because it's like leader, um, leader stick, and then winter heart. So
Okay.
something about like your heart being beaten down winter, and the leader is hitting you in the back with a stick.
What?
Uh,
Wait, so what does it mean again?
leisure,
Oh,
and the reason
okay.
it means leisure is because like he hands the stick over to his minion or like his apprentice or whatever, and then he starts beating you with the stick. And so he's taking a break because he's
Oh my
taking
God,
leisure, and the other guy's hitting you with the stick. So that's the
that's
mnemonic.
beautiful.
And the reading is you, and that was a little tricky for me, but I think I got it now. So that's why I
Cool.
have 100% meaning, but 50% reading. And the other one is one that's been on my wall of shame for a while. That's still like
hmm
in whatever guru before being burned, which is kagayaku. That's to shine, or it's to shine. So that has been on my wall of shame for a little while. I know it now. That's
You
the whole
know
thing,
it.
SRS thing. Like it, that's why I think the wall of shame thing concept is really funny.
It is.
Because like you can see something there, like I know it now, but it's not in my review queue, so I can't get it right until a month from now or whatever, whenever it comes. So
You'll be ready for it.
and I'll be ready for it. Yeah.
hmm
Okay, grammar talk, Khalil, because you're talking about grammar that you want to learn more of and be more
Yeah,
comfortable with.
yeah.
So I asked you before the episode, do you know the difference between yo and ne? And you said not really.
No,
So
my guess is, yeah, isn't ne more like saying like isn't it like this or something? Or like, yeah, I don't know.
So I almost, and you hear this a lot in living in Hawaii, but they'll
hmm
say right question mark at the end of every sentence, or they'll say right, or they'll say yeah is more common. Sorry. So they'll
Yeah.
say, for example, like you'll be eating something and they'll say, "This is good, yeah," or they'll say, um, "Today's going to be good weather, yeah." Like they'll say "yeah" at the end of every sentence.
Okay,
And
so that is pretty similar to being like, oh, it's pretty cool, right? Like, right?
yeah, so on the mainland, a lot of us say "right," and there's some people who
Mhm.
say it incessantly. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And in Japanese, you can basically one for one translate that with "ne." It's the same exact thing. It's like
Okay, cool.
you both know something, or you both. Sometimes
Like
people ask it in question, but it's almost like an obvious kind of rhetorical thing you're saying.
yeah, it's more it's kind of funny because it makes me think like you're kind of twisting their arm, like, right? You agree with me,
Yeah,
right?
no, no, and some people do like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know people who do that a lot. They'll say "ne," and then the other person won't respond. They'll say "ne."
Oh,
That's funny. Often they'll do that too, like when you're not listening, or uh, if you're or if you didn't hear what they said,
hmm.
they'll say "ne," and you'll be like "eh, nani," and then they'll say it again, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay."
Gotcha.
It's like, so they're kind of expecting you to say "ne" as a response.
Hmm.
Um, sort of similar to English, like you say "yeah," then another person might say "yeah, I know," or "yeah, right," or it's just sort of like this conversation thing that you do.
Yeah,
Not really written in books, right? Unless they're having like a dialogue in the book.
gotcha.
What
Yeah,
about
yeah.
yo? Can you explain that?
I can't actually. I don't know.
Interesting. That's kind of an interesting one to explain. It's definitely like it's easier to feel and hear, and then when you hear it, you
Oh,
understand how to use it in context. It's not a hard thing to understand though. The Tofugu article that I pulled up here is like kind of trying to explain the differences between the two.
yeah,
So nay is honestly in my head just translate that as right question mark, like comma right question mark,
yeah.
or comma yeah question mark. it's it's sort of like a soft question mark. You're not really like actually asking a question, so it's just a rhetorical statement.
Yeah.
Um, so yo is like saying you kind of I'm telling you something, like I'm telling you this because you should know it, or I'm telling you something that's new.
Oh, okay.
So but you can also use, I don't know if this even says this in the article, but you can use both. You can use yo ne. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
da yo ne. So they're saying so for example,これ美味しいんですよね. So this is really good. I'm telling you this, but also like adding comma yeah to the end. It's like I'm telling you this is really good, but it's kind of like hard to explain. But for
That
example, if I
is
say
very interesting.
美味しいね, the nuance is that you know that it's good. We're eating it together, or you've had it before, like you know it's good.
Oh, okay.
But if I say 美味しいんですよ, the nuance there is that this is good and you don't know that. Like you don't know that yet, or you don't know that. So I'm
So
telling
like
you,
if we were like eating somewhere and we had different like food items,
yeah,
you would gotcha. But if we had the same, we could say, oh, oishine, right? Is that
yes,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the nuance there. Is
gotcha?
that like it's how you're communicating to the other person if they don't know something and you're trying to tell
Hmm.
them this is really good or this is something. Or if they already know it, or if they're already experiencing it with you, then you don't really have to say it.
Hmm.
Um, there's a little bit of a nuance there. Yeah. So if you add yo, you're like telling them something new, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've
Gotcha.
never had to explain this out loud. I've always just sort of, I didn't
Yeah.
even thought about it really. I just internalized it, like based on all the stuff and the way that because that's how you kind of learn to be a little
Hmm.
bit more native in the way you speak is just to like listen and then copy, just like a parrot. Just listen to everybody how they use it in certain contexts and then just blurt it out. And so I'll do that sometimes. I have no idea what I'm saying. Like I'll listen to Judy say something, or I'll listen to her parents or her sister or some of my friends say something, and I'll try to just use it in a sentence or a conversation, and
Yeah.
because I've heard it in the same like context or like the same way that somebody replied to it, I have no idea what it means, and it usually is
Gotcha.
smooth. It usually works. But I'm like, what did I just say? And then I'll go back and look it up later, like try to type it out phonetically. I'd be like, oh, I didn't even know I had that kind of like nuance, but it's weird. Like that's why little kids get so good at languages quickly, is because they don't
Yeah.
think about having to be correct. They just copy. They just copy their parents. They just
Yeah,
copy everybody.
exactly.
They're just like, oh, I know when to use this now. So,
No. Yeah. Yeah.
so I think if you get good at that, it's hard though, and often it doesn't really work, right? Because like you'll hear something and be like, think you can use it this time, like senjutsu. That means previous day, right? You think that, and then you use it like senjutsu, and then people go, huh? But you really mean kino. Like you mean yesterday,
Hmm.
not senjutsu. So there'll be like a slight nuance,
Gotcha.
but honestly, it doesn't really matter. But if it's ever confusing, people will like ask you more questions, and then you'll not know where you made a mistake, and then they'll like clarify, and you say, "Oh, kyo," like today, kyo no mae, before, and then they go, "Oh, kino," like
Sure.
they'll tell you, like tell you the answer.
Oh
Does that make
yeah.
sense? Yeah. Like you're getting
Yeah.
around not knowing that word or trying to
Yeah.
explain something to them, because that happens a lot too when you're speaking to somebody. Like if you're not native, which none of us are, um, trying to explain something, and then you think you're saying it the right. This happens to Judy and I all the time. Like you think you're saying it the right thing with perfect nuance, but you're actually not
Uh-oh.
hitting the mark at all.
You're frozen.
Oh, I see you. Are you
Oh no,
good?
you're good now. You're good.
Okay. Like you think you're hitting the
Yeah.
mark with what you're saying, with nuance and everything, and then you go off the
Mhm.
path, at least from their side, like they're listening to you speak and they're like, what? Like you're getting into weird
Yeah.
territory. But you're not trying to say that. It's just like going a weird way.
Hmm.
So often they'll like, that's what's fun about conversation versus like writing, is that the conversation, the person's like interacting with you and helping you. Like they just want
Yeah.
to understand what you're saying. So
It's
they'll
way more
ask clarifying
dynamic.
questions. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
really, really fun. So so yeah, yo versus nay, I would say that yo is like you're telling somebody new information, and then nay is something that you kind of both already know. Like that's kind of the main thing, and you can use both of them at the same time too. Um, really,
Gotcha.
really, really common. Like yo ne, da yo ne is like somebody um, um, responds. It's sort of similar to like ne, like yeah or right. It's just like a common reply if somebody says something. But often you'll hear like in a train station or something like that, or just I don't know, at the barber shop or whatever, you'll hear like um, aunties talking or like mothers talking, and they'll say like "kanesho ne," like there'll always be this other so that
Hmm.
there's something called uh, aizuchi, which is like the other person responding immediately after somebody says something. I don't know if you ever heard that aizuchi.
Oh, okay.
So
Uh,
So, for example, like if I say "oishii yo ne," and if you just keep talking and you don't like acknowledge what I said, that's impolite in Japanese.
hmm.
It's kind of weird. So, like when you're talking on the phone, even in English, like if you're talking on the
Interesting.
phone to a non-native English speaker that's Japanese, like I was talking to a representative for ANA when I was trying to buy flights for Judy one time, and she, after every single thing I said in English, she would say, uh, "I understand," or something like, I think she said something like, "I understand." So I'd say like, "I need to get plane tickets for Tokyo from Seattle," and then she'll say, "I understand," and I'll say, but and I'll be continuing to speak. I'll be like, what are after every single word, like if I pause at all, she would say, "I understand," or I hear
Oh
you," or
man.
like like after every single word, and I don't exactly remember what she said, but it was so disrupting to what I was saying. I kind of lost my train of thought. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll get stuck and be like, because I'm not expecting you to respond. I'm expecting you just to wait a
Uh-huh.
second for me to finish and listen. But in Japan and in Korea, I don't know if this is in China, but definitely in Japan and Korea, there's something called aizuchi, which is like acknowledging that you're listening by saying like or honto, or ne, or そうなんですか, like responding to every single word that they say is
Oh
really
man.
common. That's polite. And if you're not doing that, like it took Judy a while to get used to the way we do it here, where we wait for somebody to stop speaking, which is really weird. So
Interesting. I didn't really realize that.
yeah, Aizuchi, if anybody's interested. It's I think
Aizuchi.
Aizuchi, yeah. There's a YouTuber who lived in Japan. I think she's Canadian. I think her name's Michaela. And she made a video about this too. And she made a stronger point though. She's really funny, but she made a stronger point about it being like really freaking annoying. I understand it, but it is sort of like disrupting to how you're talking. It's just like some conversation, cultural difference. So
Yeah.
I think it's her name, Michaela. Yeah. So Khalil, you wrote a story last week talking about the rock and the three wishes. And so I don't know if you see the correction below. So I had Judy take a look and make it a little bit more native looking. And so
I do. There's a lot of kanji I can't read. So
okay.
why don't you
So
take us through this, Patrick?
sure. So let's start with well, I guess we can just go straight to the correction. So we're kind of saying the right thing, because some of the stuff too I didn't really know the best way to say, and I'll get into the parts that I didn't really know, which is like so the beginning is 毎年月から不思議な石が落ちてきます。So 毎年 is every year, 月is moon. So from the moon, 月から不思議な is like how do you explain 不思議な? Because I think that you know it's like mysterious or
it's like a
splendid.
It's an adjective. Yeah.
It's an adjective that kind of means something similar to those. It's like undescribable or unexplainable.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Like,
you're cutting out, bro. You're good. You're blinking very slowly now.
Oh no.
We're good. We're good.
My back?
You're back. You're good. You're good.
My back? Okay. Okay.
So
Sweet.
the next sentence is so
good.
so 落ちてきます. So 落ちて means to fall. And then きます is like to come fall. So like it's coming from somewhere. And 落ちてきます is like the compound verbs. So there's 落ちて, which is to fall. And then きます. I think I said this in last episode too. Like the te form of a verb plus きます or 来る, or plus 行く or 行きます is there's like a nuance there too, that 行きます is like something's going somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And then 来ます is something's coming. So like basically it's saying like it's coming to Earth. But I didn't put Earth in there. It's just 落ちてきます, like it fell and it's coming.
Gotcha.
Or came and fell, I guess, is a better way to say that. Yeah. So the next sentence is とっても貴重な出来事です. So 出来事 is like something that happened, but it's like something that was able to happen. And 貴重な is like valuable or not necessarily special, but it's kind of like valuable, like it's important. 貴重な. So very とても very important occurrence, like something that happened, like 出来事, something that could happen. And then ある日少年は石を見つけました. So the day it happened, the day that it happens, I think it happened in this context. Shonen, like the little boy, found the stone. Yeah, mitsukemashita. I know I have a lot of kanji in there, but I'll just read it so it makes sense. So 石は少年に助けてくれてありがとうございます. Oh, I'm not done. That's not the end of the sentence. One second. I may have messed up the punctuation here. I may have deleted something.
Wait a minute.
Oh, you know what? I messed this up. I may have deleted a bunch of things. But basically, like, next sentence is 石は少年に助けてくれてありがとうございます. Which means the rock said to the little boy, Thank you for saving me. I think that's what you wanted to say, right?
Yeah.
Because the ni and the wa in your version were switched
Were they
at one point,
swapped?
but the next
Yeah.
sentence was actually good. So one of the sentences was literally flipped.
Nice.
So Ishii wa the rock, shonen ni to the little boy, tasukete
Oh,
kurete, for saving me, like for kureru is like to receive, right? Or to do something for. So tasukete kurete, thank you. So for saving me, arigatou gozaimasu, thank you. And then so Ishii wa I have to actually type this. Ishii wa 3つのお願いを叶えてあげますって言いました。と言いました。Oops, let me type this. 言いました。So the rock said, I will grant you 3 wishes. So kanaete is like grant. This is the part that I didn't know, that I didn't like. This is the part that Judy helped me with. This is kanaete. It's like to grant or to bestow.
Oh.
So agemasu, so when you, again, the te verb. Yeah, and the te verb with the agemas is like to do for. So like I'm gonna give you this. Like I'm gonna verb agemas means to give. So verb give. Like I'm gonna for example, mise ni ite agemasu. I'm gonna go to the store for you. Like mise is store, ni to store, ite. Actually, more common thing. You froze. Are you good? A more common thing. I know you froze, but are you okay now? I think you're good. Man, it's hard to.
I think we're good. Yeah.
Cool. A more common thing is like itekite.
Stop using the internet, people.
I know, seriously. Itekite is like to go and come. So I'll say like mise ni itekite agiru. Like I'll go and come from the store. So itekite is like to go and come back. And then agiru, if you add that at the end of a te verb, it means just like I'm gonna do this for you, or this person did this for this person. So So in that case, it was
interesting.
Yeah, in that case, it was like mitsu no onegai, 3 wishes, or like requests or whatever. O kanaete agemasu, like I'm gonna grant. So kanaete is grant, and then agemasu is like I'm gonna do this for you. Yeah, and then shonen wa ishii ni, ishii ga hanashiteru no kimochi warui. So the little boy said to the rock, talking rocks are gross. That's what he said. And so is there any part of that was confusing? Maybe the hanashiteru no, like ishii ga hanashiteru no. So maybe another way to say that.
Yeah, so what's with the no?
Yeah, it's something that I don't know if I know how to explain, but it's really common. Like sometimes you'll see a statement like that. So like ishii ga hanashiteru no. So ishii ga hanashiteru, so like the rock is talking. Ishii ga hanashiteru, the rock is talking now. No. And it's almost like a way to make that into an adjective. So a talking rock, right? Because we say that in English, like a talking
versus
rock.
A rock talking. Yeah.
Versus a rock talking. If I wanted to say this like really, really, really legal speak or whatever, I can't say it legal speak, but I can say it a little bit more formal, which would be like, Ishii ga hanashiteru koto ga, or Ishii wa hanashiteru koto ga, kimochi warui desu. So like I would say koto ga, I don't know if you've seen that before, like at the end of the verb, they'll say koto, which will make that verb into a noun. And then they'll say ga. So you can add koto is like thing, right? To the end of any verb, and it'll make it into a noun. And so the way to kind of get around that, that's a little bit more natural, that a lot of people say, is in like natural conversation is to add no to do the exact same thing, kind of make it like a adjective. So yeah, and the next sentence, 少年は土の上にその石を置いてその場所から去りました。 And so that was the verb. So saru, right? That's the verb that I didn't know last time we talked, and it means to leave. And you were correct on the meaning of that. Actually, I'll look that up right now. Sari. This is something that Judy helped me with too, because I don't really. It's a really common word though. I see that all the time. Yeah, saru means to leave. Yeah, it's like to leave. You say that all the time, but how often do I say that though to people? I usually say deru, which means like to exit or to go away.
No.
But saru means to leave. And you said satta, I think, but you changed it to nigeta because I gave you the wrong thing, but you were right. So anyways, little boy put the rock on the top of the, yeah. I told you to run away. The little boy put the rock on the top of the ground and he left that place. So, 少年は土の上に
Nice.
The little boy on the top of the ground, because you don't say 土に, you want to say like 土の中, like inside of the dirt, or 土の上に, like on top of the dirt.
Oh, like,
or like where in the dirt, you usually want to say, right?
I see.
Yeah. So 土の上に, so on top of the dirt, he put the rock and then he left the place. So 去りました. 去りました, saru is also a kind of a new verb that I want to use a little bit more, but I haven't really used it up until this point. So, timer.
Cool.
So hopefully that was a little helpful. It definitely, reading it, like I can read all of it and it feels really natural reading it to me, but writing it myself, there's a lot of things that like I wouldn't think to put there, like kanaete agemasu. That's something I learned from Judy. It means to grant, like I'm going to grant you things. Then also like 去りました, like その場所から去りました, you left the place. I would say like exit the place, which is not as natural as 去りました. So that was new to me too. So if anybody's listening from last podcast's story, this is the corrected version from Judy. I don't know if this is like a segment that we want to continue doing all the time. I think it's interesting. I like to know like the differences. It helps me.
I thought so too.
Cool. Okay. Great. And another thing too in the document too,
because I basically use.
Sorry, there's a little bit of delay.
I was just saying. Yeah. Like I was saying. So when I write these, I have to use like more rigid resources like dictionary and translate.
Yeah.
So that's that. Seeing how it's supposed to sound naturally, I thought was very helpful.
Yeah, Judy's my
because that's
number one
that
resource.
We can't really do yet.
Yeah. For sure. Like she's so helpful. It's awesome. And I gave her credit.
Yeah, tell her thank you for looking over that.
Oh yeah, for sure. She only had like I gave her. I was so mean. I gave her like 5 minutes before the episode to like help me do this. She's like, "Why did you give me only 5 minutes to do this?" I was like, "Sorry, I know, but help me." So yeah, she helped me do the kanaete agemasu. Yeah, I do that all the time.
Cool.
Very nice. But I'm going to be correcting her thing that she wants to write. She has like an essay she wants me to translate. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's fair. So hot. So we want to do a conversation practice. This is something I didn't actually prepare for, but let me take a minute to actually think about what I want to say. Oh, you know what? I got something. I'm just going to basically tell you what. I'm not going to tell you yet. I'll tell you in Japanese.
Whoa.
Khalil, 準備ですか? 準備ですか?
準備ですか?
Are you ready?
準備意味は何ですか? Oh, yeah.
So 準備 is like prepared or prepared or ready.
Oh.
So 準備ですか?
はい。はい。
じゃあ始まりましょう。
はい。
今日の予定は新しいできた友達とスケートするつもりです。
何時ですか?
何時? 今9時でしょ? 今からファーマーズマーケットに行って それで、ご飯を買って、家に帰って、食べてから行きます。だから、
はい。
そのプランがあるから、多分12時ぐらいに行きます。
12時。
12時ぐらいに行きます。
何を食べたいご飯を何を食べたいご飯は何を食べたい
ディムサムって知ってる？
おー、あ
食べたことありますか？
もう一度ください。
もう一度ディムサム。ディムサムを食べたことがありますか？カリルさ
あ、うん、いえ、食べくなかった
ん。食べなかった？食べたことない？食べたこ
食べ、
とがありません。食べたこ
あり、
とがないです。
はい。
そうか。そうか。そうなんですか。
食べてことないです。はい。あ、キム
見た
さんを
ことある、見たことありますか？見た。
見、見た
ディムサムって言った
こと
ら知ってますか？ディムサムって。ディムサムって
はい。
知ってますか？あ、そうっすか。
はい。
あ、
します。あ、デムさんは、うん、ちょっと待って。
シャトルにね、ディンタイフォン、ディンタイフォンっていうレストランがあるんですけど、あそこは美味しいです。
そう。
ディン
あ、
タイフォン、ディンタイフォンっていうレストラン。
え名前は何ですかディ、
ディンタイフォン。
ディン、
英語っぽく言った
ディンタイ、
ら、
あ、
ディンタイフォン。ディンタイフォン。
あ、あ、
DINTAIFUN。
あ、
ディンタイフォン。
あ、台本。
行った
はい。
ことありますか？
あ、
行ったことあり
見た
ますか？
ことありません。
あ、そうなんですか。美味しいんですよ。
う
行った
ん。
方がいい。行ってほしい。
はい。欲しい。あ、いや、痛い欲しいです。あ、シアトあ、うん。あ、
シアト
パト
ル。
さん、
はい、はい、はい。
シアトに、
うん。
き、来ます。一緒に食
あ、
べたい
来るとか、聞いたら、
来る。
聞いたら、来る
来たら、
聞いたら、それで、
来る。来る、
そして、
来たら、
パトリックが聞いたら、一緒
はい。
に、
パトリック、はい。一緒に食べたい。
一緒に食べましょ
あ、はい。
う。一緒に
一
食べ
緒に食
ましょう。
べましょう。
一緒に食
はい。
べたいって全然大丈夫。全然大丈夫です。
あ
言っても全然、一緒に食べたいって言っても大丈夫です。でも、一緒に食べましょう。もう言える。ただ、パトリックが僕が言った。じゃあ食べましょうって。
はい。
一緒に食べましょうって。美味しいんですよ。今日はね、
はい、食べましょ
肉まんじゃなくて、マナポアみたいな肉まんみたいなやつが買いたい。だから、米粉米、あライス
う。はい。
の米粉がフラワー米のフラワーで作られてる
米。
なんか、パンみたいな形の、パンみたいな丸い石みたいになってるパンを食べたい。肉まんか、肉まんっていう。肉まん。それと、なんだっけ水餃子。水餃子も美味しいんですよ。餃子って知ってる
おー、
餃子。
餃子。はい、
じゃ
知ってる。美味しい
ぎょ
ね。
美味しいですよね。餃子
美味しいで
は、
すね。
ほら、使えた。
あ、
よーって。使えた。
よーって、使えた。
さっき使えた。よ
よ
ー。good job, good job.
ー。
全然使えた。
ありがとう。
美味しいんですよって。good job. あ、水餃子は水の漢字水の
はい。
漢字と餃子。だから水餃子。水の漢字の音読み。水
はい。
餃子。で水餃子、なんか餃子みたいだけど、何中国か
あ
台湾料理。餃子じゃなくて餃子の話してない。水餃子は餃子と違う。でも、違うけど、見た目が、作り方がちょっと似てるから、水餃子でいい。でも、水餃子が美味しい。水餃子が美味しい。後で写真、携帯で送ります。彼ら
あ、は
に。
い。
美味しいんですよ。
美味しい。うん。
美味しいんですよ。じゃあ、最後に、ラスト、最後に、カリルが最近アニメ見てますか？
あー、あ、お、何もないお、うん。
何も見てない
何も見てない
です。そうか。
です。はい。
じゃあ、私がちょっと見たい気持ちがあるんですから、おすすめはありますか？アニメのおすすめはありますか？
あー、
任天堂
あ、
64。
お、ちょっと待って。あります。
今リストを探してんの？
はい。日本の名前探しています。
そっか、そっか。日本の名前がいつも違うんですよね。
はい。
英語、いいよ、いいよ。言っ
あ、
て。
ダカザン、あ、
たくさん
ブラック、黒の契約者。
たくさんブラックの契約者
黒の契約者。
黒の契約者。
はい。はい。
全然聞いたことない。面白いんだ。
はい、面白い。大好きです。
えダカザンブラックじゃないじゃ
赤
ないよね。
ダンブラック。
そ
はい、
れに
あります。
日本語の
お、
名前か。日本語の名前か。知らなかった。知らなかった。ダカザンブラックの名前
白の方
知らなかった。知らなかった。知りませんでした。
はい、知らなかった。
僕が知りませんでした。日本語の名前。
お
日本語の名前
はい。
が知りませんでした。
お
そう、英
はい、
語の名前だけ知らなかった。もう だけ知ります。知りました。なんか、敬語なんか
あ、
その敬語を使うとなんか複雑になっちゃう。難し難しくなる。
はい。
そう。じゃあ、darker than black。私も見たことあります。見ました。
あ、
全部見ました。あとね、
全部。
特に、ブレンデン、僕の弟
はい。
が、誕生日プレゼントでくれた漫画。
ああ、
だから、
そうか。あ、
そう
漫画。
そう。漫画がくれた。だからどこかにあるんですけど、実は読んでない、まだ。読んでない。
読んでない
まだ。
漫画とアニメが違う
違うえ
はい、違う。
なんでどんなと
あ
ころが違う
あ、ストーリーです。
ストーリーでもいいストーリーが
ストー
違うんで
リー。
すか
はい。
じゃあ、
あ、
漫画読まないとね。読みたい。漫画読みたい。もうあるから、どうかに、こっちにあるから。じゃあ、小説じゃなくて、それを読むかも。
いや、漫画を読みました。
カリルも読みましたか
はい。
え
はい、はい、
いいね。
読みます。読みました。
好
いいね。
きでしたか
はい、次です。
ー、
でも、あ来年いえ、
来年
来年将来、
将来に、フューチャー
お、
に、
お、
将来はフュー
い
チャーって意味。
いえ、パスト、
過去
よ、
前
前、はい、
前。
ね、
結構はよく。
ね、結
結構前。
構、
結構前。結構前。
結構前、
昔って言わ
結
ない。
構前、
昔って言わないけど。昔はもう、けもうね、あの、老人、老人、年が取ってる人、シニアの人が言う。
お、
昔に、で、小さい頃、もう子供の時の話。でも結構前って言ってもいいよ。結構前って言った方がいい。結構前。
結構前。
結構前。うん。ごめん、それでごめん。
あ、いえ、いえ、それが、あ、
読みましたか
はい、読みましたか
そうですか。覚えてますか覚え、覚えてますか
あで、読み、読みたい。また読みたい
練習で、
やった、はい、
また練習で
よ、
読んだ
よん、
らいいかもしれないです。
もう一度ください。
もう一回
練習。
練習で
あ、
読んだらいいかもしれないです。いいですよね。
はい、
練習
はい、
で読んだらいいですよね。
はい。
でもそれは英語か。
お、
日本語か英語。
日本、英語。お、
英語の漫画か。英語の漫画。
いえ、日本語の漫画、
もうありますか
れ、練習。ありません。
持ってないんです。そっか。
持ってない、もったい、no。日本語の漫画欲しい、
欲
欲しい
しいか。欲しい。
はい、欲
そっか。
しいか。um, 英語漫画持ってない
ヘ
あ、
リ、あ、そこ、そこ。
はい。
僕の弟がね、日本から頼みました。郵便で。特別にアマゾンかウェブサイトで頼みました。注文しました。だから時間かけても1ヶ
注文
月ぐらい。注文は order。
ああ、注文。
注文、注文の意味
注文。
は order。か、
注文。
そう。か、purchase。注文って言った
はい。
ら purchase か order。order の方があるよね。うん、だから、じゃあ、こ
うん。
の話、
おそうか。
長くなりまして、終わりにします。終わり。
終わり。
終わ
終わり。
り。Sweet. That was pretty good, dude. That was really long, but I'm always impressed like how much you know because your
Uh,
vocabulary is
uh,
really good.
thanks. Yeah, I was struggling, but I think I was following most of what you said. There's just a lot of like extra things that I just didn't really know what they meant,
Yeah,
but I
I kind of
think I
felt that
saw
like
them.
kamoshiranai. You probably didn't know that kamoshiranai.
Yeah, yeah,
Kamoshiranai
I
is
didn't know
like
that.
kind of it's like a maybe. And so a lot of times people will say kamo, which is short for saying kamoshiranai. So I'll say something like he needs to drink more water because your throat hurts. So like I'll say oh 水を飲んだ方がいいかも or 水を飲んだ方がいいかもしれない So I'm saying you should drink water maybe it's like it's a way to say like a suggestion but not make it like a command you're saying
But
like
no, like,
it's like another way to say
yeah,
like to
okay,
think right like I think you should say that I think you should but it's like it's a different way to
yeah,
say that
yeah.
yeah but if you say like
Well, and then yeah, and then there's a difference in English for between saying like, "Oh, you should do this," to being like, "Can you do this?" or "Do this." You know what I mean? It's like a
yeah,
suggestion,
there's a big difference. And then also,
suggestion.
like,
Like
even
you
if you
should,
say it
oh,
in
you should
English
go read
too,
that. You should go watch that.
I think you should read this. Is more of like a kind of strong way to say it, right?
Hmm.
Like, you should read this maybe.
Yeah.
There's like, so kamoshirenai is like
Okay.
maybe.
So that's
Yeah.
gotcha.
It's kind of long.
Okay, I
That's why a
like
lot of
that.
people say it. A lot of people say kamo, not kamoshirenai. But you'll see it written all the
Oh,
time as
okay.
kamoshirenai. And if you're saying it like more politely, they'll say kamoshirimasen or kamoshirenai. Kamoshirenai is really common. Um,
Okay.
Yeah. And so again, it's like the whenever I see kamoshirana, I think maybe it's like the translation in English, maybe. And then obviously omoimasu or omo is like to
Hmm.
think. It's my opinion. So is there anything
Okay.
else? Was that like the main one?
I got a little confused when we were when we were talking about the name, when we were talking about darker than black.
Oh right. Yeah. You said
I think
keyakusha. That's crazy. So like black
black contractors, what it's supposed
contractor.
to.
Yeah. And then what's the first part of that? It's
Yes,
like
the first part that made me
takazan.
laugh was that it was just darker than black in Romaji, pretty much Romaji. So I was like, what was the name
Yeah.
of darker than black in Japanese? And it was the same, just with the added black contractor part to it.
Oh, that's funny. Wait. Daka Zambraku is what you said?
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
didn't realize what you said. I thought you were saying something else. Okay. So Daka Zambraku no Kurokeyakusha. That's
yeah,
weird. So
yeah,
it's like darker than black and the black contractor. It's like,
yeah. It's more like darker than black, like hyphen, like the core series, and then oh, you know what I mean? Like I don't know if that makes sense.
the chorus here. Oh, okay.
Oh
So
no,
it like
Patrick Frozen.
no, I can hear you. Yeah, I'm probably freezing on you. We should
Oh,
end
you're
this
good now.
podcast before it gets worse. Yeah.
Oh, you're good now.
Cool. Yeah. I thought that's what I thought because even the manga it has it in katakana. It's just
But yeah, overall, I think that was pretty good. I need to practice more, though. I need to practice speaking more.
Is it
So
fun?
I'll
Like,
have to
does it
try
feel
looking
good?
at
I'm
one
trying
of
to
those.
help you too. Like, I'm trying to see. You say
Oh,
something. You say something to me, right? You say something to me, and then I hear
yeah.
you. I hear what you're trying to say, and so sometimes I try to help you, but sometimes I'm adding to the confusion.
You are really,
Yeah, I thought so. All right, so
yeah, but it's okay.
good practice. Let's end this before it gets way worse and it becomes like incomprehensible. Um, so good practice. We usually do the goals for the
This
next
is
two
now a
weeks.
slideshow podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're about
So
this.
they're about the same. Yeah. I mean, like continue studying
Yeah.
Japanese, which
We'll
is
just,
always the goal.
mm-hmm.
Um, I think might want to actually go find the Darker Than Black manga and maybe read some of that. All
Okay.
right, here we go. Ready? 3、
Yeah.
2、
Need.
1。バイバイキーン。
Matane. Yeah.
Yeah.